Will the class president please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Hut. Left. Hit. Forward. Hut.
Please be seated. Academy, take seats. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Berg, and I'm the director of the North Idaho College Peace Officer Standards and Training Approved Basic Patrol Academy. It's my pleasure to welcome all the friends, family, and distinguished guests of the graduate of North Idaho College Basic Patrol Academy N0114. This is our 10th Academy. For those of you in the audience, during the presentation of awards and certificates, please feel free to come forward and take photographs. At this time, I'd like to introduce our special guests at the head table. Too close, I guess. To my right, Mayor Ron Jacobson of Post Falls. Next to him, the Honorable Judge Lansing Haynes and Chaplain Brian Burkhalter of the Post Falls Police Department. I'd like to take just a moment to thank all the instructors that have worked so hard and made such a tremendous effort to make this academy a success. And to all the role players who volunteered their time to provide realistic scenarios to the students. I'd also like to extend thanks to North Idaho College administration, Dr. Joe Dunlap, President, Dr. Lita Burns, Vice President of Instruction, Mr. Mike Myers, Dean of Professional, Technical, and Workforce Education, Mr. Gain Clifford, Division Chair, Business and Professions Programs, and Ms. Gabe Grover, Administrative Assistant to the program, and to all the NIC staff for their continued support and encouragement. I'd like to extend my special thanks to Mr. David Kramer, who is the Basic Academy Coordinator, and the North Idaho College Law Enforcement Advisory Committee for their continuing support. And last but not least, to the post staff in Meridian, Mr. Jarm Parman, Post Region 1 Coordinator, Mr. William Flink, Post Division Administrator, and to the General Post staff in Meridian. There's another group I'd like to recognize. And some of you are some of that group is in the audience today. First of all, I recognize the students and their spouses and significant others. I tell the students at the start of the academy, this is not a college class. We're affiliated with North Idaho College, but it is not a college class. The students are in class a minimum of 5 days a week and a minimum of 10 hours a day. It's like a full-time job. When the academy is over and they go home, their workday has not ended. In the evenings and weekends, they have to spend time studying for exams. And I have to stop at this moment and say this is the first academy class I've had, and this is number 10, in which every student has passed every test on the first take. So evidently they studied. Also writing reports, preparing the uniforms, etc. Additionally, we had class on 2 Saturdays. This took them away from their family, spouses and significant others, and often the spouses and significant others had to fill in the void. I thank you, and I thank them. This Academy class has 9 students, 3 department-sponsored and 6 self-sponsored. The department-sponsored students come from 2 northern agencies, Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and Shoshone County Sheriff's Office. And the self-sponsored students came to us from Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and the most distant was from Blanchard. He drove here every day from Blanchard and drove home every night to Blanchard. The Academy academic average was 86.6, which is a good average. To the graduates, this Academy has been quite a journey. We shared, and I would probably say you would say endured, over 629 hours of computer-based, classroom, and hands-on instruction. On the first day you arrived at the Academy, you were told that as a group, you, not me, but you would determine the quality of your experience here. I've seen you come together from a group of strangers to a team that bonded, worked together, helped and encouraged each other to strive for and achieve success. Today, we are all here to celebrate your success. I encourage you to continue to work as a team as you progress in your chosen field. No doubt many of you will work together, and along with more senior officers, you'll have the opportunity to do quality work that will make a difference in the lives of those you manage in the communities you serve. On behalf of North Idaho College, the Post Council, the North Idaho College Law Enforcement Program Advisory Committee, and most of all, from myself, I congratulate you. I wish you all the best in the years to come. Congratulations on a job well done. Now I'd like to invite the class president, Deputy Justin Olson, Shoshone County Sheriff's Office, to give his address.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for coming. Your support means a great deal to each and every one of us. As Mr. Berg said, it has been a long 13 weeks since we started this academy, and the 9 of us would really like to get the heck out of here. Drive safe.
We talked about this, Mr. Olson.
In all seriousness, the past 13 weeks, it had its good times and it had its bad times. It involved a bunch of information being crammed into our heads while we were expected to retain it all. Day 1, we found ourselves in a strange place surrounded by new people. Instantly, quiet down, Tate. Instantly, we were sized up by one another. For me personally, I was trying to figure out who would become my competition, who would become friend, or maybe in some cases both. I think the first indication we would survive the next few weeks was during the first couple days of PT. That's physical training for all you civilians. It was there that we all grew fond of a statement which would become our class motto: suffer in silence. As the days and weeks ticked by, we were subjected to various classes with the appropriate practical scenario counterparts. One such class happened to be cold water survival. On this pleasant day, we found ourselves standing on a dock in Hayden Lake in Coeur d'Alene. If your idea of fun is jumping into 38 degrees of water, swimming down 12 feet to rescue a dummy off the bottom, then you would have fit right in. I could go on and on with stories, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned we were ready to get the heck out of here and back to our normal routines. I will say one more thing about the practical situations. It was on those training days our differences seemed to disappear. We found strength and comfort in each other. The information we all had crammed into our heads was all thanks to the instructors that were made available to us. It would take another 13 weeks to personally thank each and every one of you. On behalf of our class, thank you. We are all here graduating today because of your willingness to impart your knowledge and experience upon us. And who could forget the man that keeps it all running smoothly? Mr. Berg. The man with the expertly groomed mustache. The man whose face is usually lacking a smile, except today. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that he's done with us. Let's not forget his awesomely dry sense of humor, which usually had us smiling anyway. Aside from all the jokes, Mr. Berg, we, as a class, thank you. As I said before, we did have our differences and moments of frustration, but we buckled down, continued working towards our common goal, and as I stated before, as I stand before you today, I can say mission accomplished. I'm proud to be a part of our group and to have the opportunity to know you all personally. Keep your eyes up, your head on a swivel. God bless.
Thank you, Deputy Olson. At this time, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Ron Jacobson, the Mayor of Post Falls. Ron Jacobson is the 37th Mayor of Post Falls. He was elected mayor for a 4-year term in November of 2013. Prior to being elected mayor, he was appointed to the City Council in 1999 and elected as a City Council member in 2000. He served as City Council President from 2012 to 2014 and also has extensive community service. Post Falls Rotarian, Rotarian of the Year in 2010, North Idaho College Foundation Board Member, former Chair of the Post Falls Parks and Recreation Commission, past member of the Urban Renewal Agency Board, past member of the Jobs Plus Board, past chair of Holy Family Catholic School Board. Mayor Jacobson is a senior vice president at Inland Northwest Bank. He attended North Idaho College and received a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from the University of Idaho. He and his wife Susan reside in Post Falls. Please welcome Mayor Ron Jacobson.
Thank you, Mike. I don't know if you noticed, but with the exception of Mike, I fit in at the head table very well. We all have the same hairline. So you are the exception. It's a pleasure to be able to address you today, but I feel I should preface my comments with 2 points. The first one's a little bit difficult, but you have to work with me on this. I am smarter than I look. And I say that because I was feeling pretty important being asked to speak to such an esteemed group. But then I realized about a year ago, I was asked, our church started a capital campaign, and I was asked by the pastors of our church in Coeur d'Alene, St. Thomas, and the pastor out at St. George to chair their campaign. And I thought, wow, that's pretty impressive. I'm not being asked to chair one campaign, but two. Until I walked out of church out in Post Falls, and Father Tim Ritchie introduced me to someone and said, when you want to raise money, when you want to be successful, you find the smartest, best looking, most likable guy to be the chair. That didn't work, so we asked Ron. So to quote Yogi Berra, dare I say deja vu all over again. And the second is I am a little bit nervous. I usually don't mind speaking in front of people. But I was looking at the North Idaho College website, which states, to successfully complete post-academy, students will be required to pass all post requirements for physical fitness, marksmanship, and post-written and certification tests. So I'm standing in front of a group of young men who are armed and have tasers, and I'm supposed to be addressing them. I'll guarantee you, gentlemen, that makes me choose my words wisely. In all honesty, it is truly an honor to be before you today. You have completed a thorough training program through a first-class institution, and personally, I can't tell you how happy I am that we have the Post Academy here in North Idaho. You are engaged in an honorable profession that is highly valued by our citizens. One of the first questions we hear when we are talking with companies who are considering relocating to our area is, how safe is your community? And it's due to people like you and the law enforcement agencies that serve our community that it's very easy for us to say we have a very safe community, and both the employer and their employees would feel comfortable living here. I appreciate your decisions to be law enforcement officers. Law enforcement is not an easy profession. You will be called upon to be the first responders in many types of situations. The first to respond to accidents, domestic disputes, medical emergencies, and fires. You will be asked to bring justice to those who have violated our rights, damaged or stolen our property, or injured those we love. You will be mediators to settle disputes and calm things down before they escalate to violence. You will be dealing with the ever-increasing problems involving drugs and alcohol. You will be asked to enter dangerous situations, including robberies, high-speed pursuits, and captures. I don't know if there's such a thing anymore as a routine traffic stop, but you will be involved in those as well. You are entering a profession that is heavily scrutinized and often criticized. How many times have we heard that the police department issues tickets only because they have quotas to fill? How many lawsuits are filed because the police acted improperly or with excessive force? How many stories do you hear, mainly in the larger cities, about dirty cops? Yes, there are those who are disgraced to your profession, as there are in my profession and in every other profession. But please know that the majority of our citizens look up to you and respect our law enforcement officers. We appreciate the fact that you protect us and you keep our community safe. We realize that you are oftentimes placed in harm's way, and we pray that you are kept safe. I hope that elected officials such as myself continue to support providing you with the equipment necessary to protect you and enable you to do your jobs. Body cams, in-car cameras, and other technology are critical to officer safety and efficiency. Article in the Spokesman Review today on an officer shooting in Liberty Lake where the body cam came into play. There was another one in Coeur d'Alene recently. As law enforcement, as elected officials, we have to continue to make sure we fund the necessary equipment for you folks. And not only must we continue to fund it, but it's up to us to justify to the taxpayers why that's a good investment of their dollars. Your safety is paramount, and we must continue to support you in any way we can. A minute ago, I mentioned respect, and I have to tell you a personal story dealing with my respect of and respect for and fear of law enforcement. Many, many, many years ago, I was about 13 years old. I was at a point where I could have turned into a hardened criminal. Well, maybe not a hardened criminal, but a serious offender. maybe not even a serious offender, but I was sneaking out after curfew. My buddies and I would sleep outside, and once everyone inside was asleep, we would sneak over to the girls' house. We would then engage in nefarious activities such as laughing and trying to impress the girls. One night we were heading back home after such nocturnal mischief when we had to cross 7th Street at Foster Avenue in Coeur d'Alene. We saw a car approaching, but we were very certain that we could get across the street before we had been noticed. Feeling brave, we started across the street instead of waiting until the car passed, which was our normal MO. See, I learned that on TV, MO. Do you people know how fast police cars accelerate? We thought we were safe. Wow. The car was a police car, and once it accelerated, we took off running like our lives depended on it, which, knowing our parents, probably wasn't too far from the truth had they found out what we had been doing. We did manage to get back to the house and jump into our sleeping bags. We were still shaking when the police officer stopped outside, and Officer Fred Holzer, and if anybody's from Coeur d'Alene, they remember Fred Holzer, and a partner approached us asking if we had seen any pretty boys running around the neighborhood. Of course, we denied it and said we hadn't, which really wasn't far or much of a lie because none of us were very pretty. You have to understand how scared we were. My family knew the Holzer family. Officer Fred's wife's nickname was Tubby. She wasn't. That's just what they called her. And he had 2 sons, Dick and Tom. And one of them, and I still can't remember which one's nickname was Skin. But to be laying there, pretending to have been asleep, looking up at a man in Coeur d'Alene blues whose name was Fred, whose wife's name was Tubby, and whose son's name was Skin, was indeed scary. And I gained a huge respect for and fear of law enforcement, and a huge respect, again, for just how fast your cars can accelerate. As I thought about what to say today, I kept coming back to respect. Just over a year ago, I lost my dad. I think about him often and the many things that he taught me. Dad was raised in a family of 11 by his mother, who was widowed just before my dad was born. Grandma was from Hungary and never learned to read or write. Basically, they had nothing except each other. Dad went on to support our family, there were 7 kids in my family, by working as a logger and then starting his own family business. He taught me the importance of humility and respecting people for who they are. That was one of the reasons for his success, and I feel it is critical for your success as law enforcement officers. You will deal with all types of people in your work, from wonderful, appreciative people to the dregs of society. And if you allow me, I'd offer you the following advice. Be humble, and it will cause you to listen. Listen, and it will help you to understand. Understand, and you will act with compassion. Act with compassion, and you will act with respect. Act with respect, and you will be respected. Earn respect, and you will be successful. And so in closing, I again congratulate you on your success. I thank you for your dedication and willingness to serve. I respect you for what you are doing and the profession you have chosen. My prayer for you is that you return home safe every day and that you have a long, successful career. And to steal a quote from an old TV show that was on probably before some of you folks were born, Hill Street Blues, Sergeant Phil Esterhaus, hey, let's be careful out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Gain Clifford, Division Chair, NIC College Business Professions Programs, to present 6 awards to members of this academy. Mr. Clifford.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you for making it to this day. Thank you all for coming, and a special thank you to all the agency representatives that are here. We could not run this academy without everything that you do for us and with us in both the instruction and with giving guidance to the students in our academy. I have 6 awards, as Mr. Berg presented. The first of these is Top Physical Fitness. The students are required to complete the physical readiness test upon entry into the academy, midway through the academy, and upon completion of the academy. This award is presented to the student with the highest combined score in the Idaho Peace Officer Standards and Training Physical Readiness Fitness Test, which consists of 5 events: the vertical jump, the most sit-ups that can be completed in 1 minute, the most push-ups that can be completed, a 300-meter run, and a 1.5-mile run. The recipient of this award is Daniel Sanacola. Again, just a reminder, if you want to come up and take pictures on the presentation awards, please do that. The most improved physical fitness. During the course of the academy, the students were required to participate in a structured physical training program. This award is presented to the student who as a result of the physical training program most improved his physical readiness test score. This award is presented to Deputy Jonathan Traw. Good job. I guess we should tighten those down a little more.
It's a test.
Outstanding academics. This award is presented to the student with the highest overall grade point average for the written tests. The grade point average includes all written tests for firearms, emergency vehicle operation, law week, computer-based training, the weekly exams, which were pretty scary, and the final exam. This award is presented to Deputy Jonathan Traw. Top Gun. Should be some music playing on that one. This award is presented to the student with the highest combined score in the Idaho Peace Officer Standards and Training Handgun and Shotgun course. This award is presented to Deputy Jonathan Traw. The Outstanding Professional Award. This award is presented to the student selected by his peers as the individual they would most want to work with in law enforcement. The recipient exemplifies those characteristics that are in keeping with the highest traditions of law enforcement profession, including knowledge, maturity, ability, leadership, integrity, judgment and attitude, and the students voted by secret ballot for the recipient. This award is presented to Deputy Justin Olson. Top overall student. This award is presented to the student whose combined scores in academics, report writing, physical fitness, firearms, and practicals placed him at the top of the academy. This award is presented to Deputy Jonathan Traw.
When we're giving a benediction, could you go back and get the bagpipers?
Yeah.
They're down that hallway.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Now it's time for the administration of the Code of Ethics and the Oath of Office. I would like to introduce the Honorable Judge Lansing Haynes. The Honorable Lansing Haynes is a district judge in the state of Idaho's 1st Judicial District with chambers in Kootenai County. In August 2006, he was appointed to the position by former Governor, now U.S. Senator James Rich. He was elected by popular election in 2010. He presides over a general jurisdiction caseload that is split approximately 50-50 between criminal and civil cases. He was elected as the administration district judge for the 1st Judicial District effective April 1, 2013. He currently serves on the Felony Sentencing Committee and the Death Penalty Defense Review Committee, both of which are statewide committees. Judge Haynes was born in Montana, but spent most of his childhood in North Idaho. He's a graduate of Twin Falls High School, the College of Idaho, and the Wilmette University College of Law in Salem, Oregon. Prior to his appointment to the bench, Judge Haynes was the Chief Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for Kootenai County for approximately 18 years. Prior to that, he served in Canyon County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and the Ada County Public Defender's Office. Judge Haynes and his wife, Lee, live in Coeur d'Alene. They have 2 adult children and 3 grandchildren. Please welcome the Honorable Judge Lansing Haynes. Academy. Head shut. Right face.
I'm going to read the Code of Ethics and the Standards of Conduct, but while our graduates are standing there at attention, I'm going to make them listen to a couple of remarks that they're allowing me to make today. The remarks that I want to make for these graduates and soon-to-be members of the law enforcement community concern 3 words, and those words are integrity, they are peace, and they are demeanor. The Peace Officer Standards and Training Academy that they're graduating from, I want to emphasize for them the word peace. They will be peacemakers in the community. All of us have probably had situations where tensions are high, emotions are running, a situation is out of control by normal standards, and then the police arrive, and you can feel the tension deflate in this situation. The police are there, everything's going to be okay. I recently had a long-standing friend of mine with a long career in law enforcement describe a situation of the best law enforcement work he'd ever done in a long career. And he described a situation of an automobile accident where a woman had been killed, and that officer's job at that accident was simply to hold the young boy whose mom had just died. And he did that for a long time. That was one of the most memorable experiences of his law enforcement career. I have an opportunity as a judge to have jurors come to court all the time, and jurors are often asked questions about law enforcement. Occasionally, they're asked if they ever have really just a problem with law enforcement officer, and now and then people do. These aren't hardened-looking criminals that bring up the problem that they have. They're citizens just like all of us in the room today. And always the complaint is the attitude of the law enforcement officer. Frequently, a juror will say something to the effect of, I got stopped for a speeding ticket and I was speeding, but gosh, the attitude was just, overbearing. And that's the problem that they remember. It may seem like nothing to us, but it meant something to that person for a long time. But more often than not, a question is asked of jurors, would you believe a law enforcement officer's testimony just because they're a law enforcement officer? And often it's the defense that asks that question, trying to bring out the bias of the juror. And quite often, surprisingly often, people will raise their hands and say, yeah, I would. I would believe a law enforcement officer just because they're a law enforcement officer. That's the trust you enter your positions and your professions with. Never do anything to lose that trust. It was my honor as 18 years as a chief deputy prosecutor to talk with many, many law enforcement officers. And occasionally the situation would come up in talking about preparing for testimony that if they remembered a case a certain way, it helped the prosecution case. But if they remembered the facts another way, it helped the defense case. More often than not, the peace officer that I was speaking to would remember it in the way that helped the defense case. And they would say to me, I'm sorry, that's just how I remember it. And I would say to them, don't be sorry. That's the type of law enforcement officer I can trust in. That's the type of testimony I can trust in, the one that's just the honest one. So never lose that integrity as well. Here's the code of ethics that these officers, soon-to-be officers, will live by. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression and intimidation, and the peaceful against violence and disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, and will behave in a manner that does not bring discredit to me or my agency. I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the law and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear in a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever a secret, unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and the relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of law enforcement service. I will never engage in acts of corruption or bribery, nor will I condone such acts by other law enforcement officers. I will cooperate with all legally authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. I know that I alone am responsible for my own standard of professional performance, and I will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance and improve my level of knowledge and competence. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Members of the graduating class, if you'd please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the State of Idaho and the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. I will faithfully discharge my duties as a peace officer of the State of Idaho and political entity I represent, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. You may put your hands down and you may be seated. I thank you for your invitation, and congratulations, graduates.
Thank you, Judge Haynes. Academy, left, face. told you to face front? Right face. Take seats. It's now time for presentation of the graduation certificates. Would you please hold your applause until all the certificates have been presented? Would the dignitaries please move to the awards table? Class president, prepare the class to receive certificates.
Academy, attend, come. Right, face.
Again, if you want to come forward to take photographs, please feel free to do so. First certificate, Brian Brumwell. Josiah Bryan. And I've got to say at this point that Josiah's wife is expecting, and I thought he might be called out from this ceremony. Robert Gagnon.
Thank you, sir.
Cameron Lacey. Ryan Odegaard. Certificate presented by Kootenai County Sheriff Ben Wolfinger. Justin Olson. Certificate presented by Shoshone County Sheriff Mitch Alexander. Michael Rafferty. Daniel Sanacola. Jonathan Traw. Certificate presented by Kootenai County Sheriff Ben Wolfinger. Second rank. Left, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to present to you North Idaho College Basic Patrol Academy N0114. Academy, take seats. To give the closing benediction, I'd like to introduce Post Falls Police Department Chaplain Chapman Burkhalter. Chapman Burkhalter was raised in the Seattle area. He attended college in Bellingham and finished in Everett. He and his wife Beverly have been married for 22 years and have 2 sons. In 1997, after 23 years of service, Chapman Burkhalter retired from the Linwood Police Department. He and his family then moved to Post Falls in 1999. Chapman Burkhalter went back to school and acquired a number of certifications as a counseling pastor. For the past 5 years, he's been an associate pastor at Lake City Community Church in Coeur d'Alene, where he provides family, marriage, grief, crisis, and trauma counseling. He is currently the director of the Marriage, Family, and Guidance Ministry. Chaplain Burkhalter, please come forward and give the closing benediction.
Well, what a gift and a blessing it is to be a part of your graduation. Now that we know Deputy Olson's comments about it's been a long 13 weeks and we just soon get out of here, and now that we know someone's about to become a dad, what I've done is I've pared down my remarks. I've left most of my notes at the desk there, and I'll keep my remarks and closing prayer to about 45 minutes, okay? I want to say a couple of things to you officers and deputies from a perspective that may not have been shared yet. I graduated from the Washington State Law Enforcement Academy in 1978, before any of you were born, which frankly bothers me. But I wanted to share perspective on the level of being a husband, being a dad, being a grandpa, and being a citizen of North Idaho. And I also wanted to give you the perspective of as a taxpayer. One of the things that's going to happen to you, I promise you, it will more than likely be a citizen that is unhappy with either you or an action that you've taken. You will likely be told that that individual pays your salary. Certainly happened to me a number of times. Let me give you some perspective as a taxpayer. One of the things that I think is intelligent for us to do as people is whenever we go into either a new relationship or we go into a new profession, I think it's very smart of us to ask, what are the expectations you have for me? And so I want to give you some expectations. If I call you, I want you to come quickly and come safely. I want you to drive defensively, but quickly, and arrive when I call you. I want you to arrive and be very professional. What I mean by that is I want you to continue your training. I want you to be up on the latest technologies. I want you to be up on the latest safety. I want you to be up on the latest laws. And I want you to be able to make quick, intelligent, reasonable law-abiding decisions with me and my family. I want you to act within the law. And I want you to take charge. As you heard comments earlier today, one of the things that's going to occur is you're going to arrive at chaos, and you're going to control the situation, and you're going to come to some remedy. And I want you to make God-honoring decisions. Finally, my last expectation of you is this. I want you to not to forget to be human. I want you to appreciate the fact that God designed us and built us to be relational people. He gave us feelings and emotions so that we could deal with this thing called life. Now, no one that has ever worn a badge fails to understand that you must, a great deal of the time, keep your emotions and your feelings in check. No one expects you to arrive on the scene of a fatality car accident and stand in the middle of the intersection and weep. No one expects that. So we know that you have to hold those back. You have to do your job and maintain your professionalism. But here's what I want to remind you. Those feelings and those emotions are gifts from God. And one of the mistakes that I made as a policeman way too often was looking at my ability to either share my emotions or my feelings or not. I looked at it as an either or. And I encourage you to not make that same mistake. While you have to delay your feelings and your emotions, when it's appropriate and when it's time, have them. Because it'll be one of your greatest survival mechanisms in your career. Okay? I love that when you ask the academy class a question and they all nod yes. That's good. If I could just get that, never mind. Finally, don't forget, as again was mentioned by one of the other speakers, don't forget, while you're being professional, don't forget to show care. Don't forget to show compassion. Don't forget to show that you're human. It will work in your favor. It won't work against you. Okay? If you would all bow your heads with me, I would like to close us in prayer. Well, Father God, we are so grateful. We are grateful for these 9 men who have pursued a passion and a calling in their heart to join a profession that involves great service, great sacrifice, and great demand. God, I lift up these 9 men, and I lift up their families. And I ask you to, Father God, please bless them with great courage. Bless them with great discernment. Bless them with great wisdom. And keep them healthy and secure, not only physically, but emotionally. God, I praise the men and women that have stood in front of these officers and these deputies and have spoke wisdom to them, have spoke education to them, and insight. So, Father, I ask you to wrap your loving arms around this group of men and their families as they go out and provide service to the people of North Idaho. Father, we pray all of this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Chapman Burkhalter. Please stand for the retirement of the colors. Academy. Attention.